It could not be a coincidence that Meghan Markle wore that gold dress with its heavy embossing. I mean, she plagiarizes and cheap reports on all kinds of things. The minute I saw that dress, I thought of the king's robe. Meghan is so predictable, and she is obsessed with reminding Harry that she is the most important person in his life. More than anything else, though, I think that gold dress tells us that big fashion houses do not want to work with Meghan anymore. I don't know exactly what their reasons would be, but I have a few in mind. I can't imagine Meghan Markle is an easy person to work with, number one, and I suspect that now she has to buy her own clothing and deal with her own tailoring needs. When Meghan showed up in that ridiculous gold dress and all the reporting gave the credit for it, I thought to track down the designer's website because to me it didn't look like anything that Meghan had worn in the past. I mean, actually, other than being poorly fitted and wearing dresses that would look better on a woman taller with more of a defined waist, Meghan doesn't really even seem to have a particular signature look. And it's a shame because actually, when Meghan was on Suits, she looked a lot better, more put together. It seems like Joanna Ortiz does a fair amount of upscale beachwear, which, in spite of Meghan's Cali girl vibe, is simply not something we have seen her do before. And it makes sense for Ortiz because her headquarters is in Palm Beach. If you take a look at her current collection, you can see that Ortiz has a few more formal dresses, but mostly it's a lot of long, flowy maxi dresses and tropical prints or color block prints. And it's appropriate for beach resort or desert resort wear for sure. It's not what I would wear, but anyway, she seems to do the style pretty well. But why on earth would Meghan choose this particular designer to pick up an award in New York City? I do not understand. The events and the clothes simply do not match. And then it occurred to me that that particular dress is from Joanna Ortiz's Fall 2022 ready-to-wear collection. You can see it on the internet. If you click through that collection, the fabric and the general silhouette show up in other pieces too. Now that particular dress is look number 27. Now, to me, that dress looks like it would be more appropriate for a beach event, like a fancy beach event where you don't want to wear your most expensive piece because you don't want to get sand all over it, so you choose that little gold number. I think the material worked best as the long skirt in look number 30, or it would have looked a lot better without the various finer design elements throughout the torso. Now, in number 30, the swag of the skirt is dramatic and large scale, and it works well with the patterning and the fabric. But the fine detailing of the dress is not very successful because the patterning just overwhelms it all. And the fact that it is a ready-to-wear piece means that it was shipped out to shops where it could be bought by anybody, like at Saks Fifth Avenue, for example. So I do not believe there's any way that Meghan worked on that dress with the designer. I think it's likely instead she just bought it on her own and she had the straps taken off by a personal seamstress. I just don't think any designer would have made the recommendation that the strap should be removed because they work well with the heavier nature of that material, both visually and structurally. And on top of providing a visual balance to the length of the dress, I'm pretty sure those straps did a good job of keeping the bodice tauter. With material like that, if you make it strapless, it's probably going to be sagging and wrinkling. And if you ask me, that color did not work with Meghan's skin tone at all. I think a gold and a paler hue would have worked a lot better with her coloring. Or, like Catherine's No Time to Die premiere dress, a dress with heavy metallic embellishment would have been good too. And it might be a metallic print, but it's not really throwing back light like a good metallic dress would. And that explains all the comparisons to metallic bubble wrap. There is metallic, and then there's metallic. So I do feel bad for the designer, Joanna Ortiz, in all of this. I mean, just a couple of days ago, she was a designer for a certain class of women with money. Perhaps she wasn't a household name, but it seems like she has made a great living for herself, designing for a certain niche of the 1% or higher population. But now? Well, now she's going to be known forever as the designer of the Hearst dress, which is always going to be associated with this PR catastrophe. And I'm willing to bet she has never even talked with Meghan Markle before. Yesterday, I would have thought that Meghan could have worked with Ortiz herself just based on her past interactions with fashion designers. But at this point, considering that it is a one-season-old, ready-to-wear item, I'm thinking she didn't. I think Meghan wanted a strapless gold dress for whatever reason she wanted it. Maybe she wanted to look like she was going to the Coronation. Or was she trying a bit of Diana cosplay perhaps? It wouldn't be the first time. Or was she trying to remind people of Catherine's No Time to Die premiere dress maybe? Trying to show off how much weight she's lost recently? And this probably fits their budget, as well as time constraints, because I'm assuming that she did reach out to bigger fashion designers or stylists, but they didn't want to work with her, so she ended up having to just buy something on her own. See, I think at this point, the big fashion designers and the stylists don't want anything to do with Meghan anymore. Meghan is starting to creep into notorious territory, and her custom may not be worth their time or the money. I'm sure Meghan ends up being very demanding, and both the fashion houses and the stylists just get tired of it, and so they let her go out with their dresses looking less than perfect, because they all are just sick and tired of her ridiculous demands. They lose their patience with her. And it's not like the Meghan Effect has the impact that it once had. Stories have noted that this dress is now sold out, but it was a dress from last year. Inventory was probably low anyway, and it's already listed as half off on Saks, so it would not have taken many squatties to sell out whatever was left over. And unlike Wallis Simpson, who actually was a fashion icon, and whatever we may think of her as a person, she knew how to dress herself. I think Meghan really lacks the inherent confidence to be comfortable in this high-end fashion stuff. On the other hand, we've got people like Cate Blanchett or Tilda Swinton. Sometimes they wear some clothes that look pretty crazy, but it works because they've got the confidence to get away with taking these risks. So Meghan can cling on to that Duchess title all she wants. After the coronation, Meghan's value is plummeting quickly, and being a Duchess in exile does not mean much compared to all her other less likable personality traits. So I suspect that Meghan was backed into a relatively last-minute dressing decision, and she had to look at high-priced, ready-to-wear retail, and then have it altered by a trusted tailor, because it's not like Meghan can really command any other kind of solid professional fashion assistance at this point. It also says a lot that there was nothing on Joanna Ortiz's social media accounts about Meghan wearing this number. If Meghan really had worked with the designer, I'm sure there would have been an Instagram post or a story about it. They would have posted something, some photo of Meghan as she arrived at the venue just to maximize the publicity. Now, there are Instagram posts on the Joanna Ortiz Instagram for New York City right now, but it seems to be for only two reasons. Number one, the current fall campaign is centered around New York City, and number two, it seems like the designer herself just moved there. I do not believe that she was in New York City to promote that dress at all. I think she just so happens to be there at this moment. Another thing is, when I was looking at her Instagram stories after the dress hit the news wires, the stories were filled with photos of various people wearing her dresses. Now, there were a few stars like Gwyneth Paltrow and Stephanie Beatriz, Rosa from Brooklyn Nine-Nine and the voice of Mirabelle in Encanto if you don't know who she is, and then also Lila Ramsey, the shopping editor for Vogue. But she didn't bother mentioning Meghan Markle and her appearance in New York, and nothing showed up in the hours after or yesterday even. Now, if somehow Joanna Ortiz really did work with Meghan, she didn't sign up for her textured matte gold dress being first seen in front of a Hertz counter with really bad overhead lighting too. She would have assumed that it would have been photographed on the sidewalk in front of the Ziegfeld Theater marquee, which would have made it look a little bit better. Setting for a dress is incredibly important, and I don't believe any designer in the world, assuming they were not directly working with Hertz on a Hertz campaign, would have agreed to have that dress first exposed to photographers on a famous woman in that setting. If Meghan actually worked with a designer, then she completely tricked her. She was Markled. And this is just another reason in the long list of reasons for fashion houses to take another big step back away from Meghan. They cannot trust that their dresses are going to get positive PR for them, or that Meghan is going to do her part and make the dress look good, wear it in nice lighting, and just make it look like something people would want to buy. So now I'm left wondering what in the world Meghan's going to be wearing to that Gracie Awards gala that's happening next week. Whew. So it looks like the gala is being held at the Beverly Wilshire, and the dress code is black tie. I would bet we're going to see some kind of Pretty Woman moment from Meghan, perhaps not the red dress, but something that reminds us of the first dinner cocktail dress. But in my opinion, if we see Meghan show up in another ready-to-wear piece, that will prove that she is not able to command anything from the big designers, and she's not able to work with a stylist who can do so either. What do you think of Meghan's gold dress? Let us know your thoughts below in the comments section. We hope you have found this video helpful. Don't forget to leave us a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back to see you in the next videos. Bye bye now.